Dear all, Namaste. My greetings to you. This is Advocate Srirang Chaudhary for Excellence Matters. This channel of mine is reserved exclusively for my talks in English regarding reservation and allied issues. I have been making videos in my native language, which is in Marathi. Those videos talk mainly of Maratha reservation, which is the most troublesome and controversial topic currently in Maharashtra. Reservation as a whole we will talk, and one of the aspects of reservation is that currently it is being extended to groups or castes or to classes. When we look at the present scheme of reservation, three things emerge. Firstly, that though the constitution guarantees in the fundamental rights that there shall be no discrimination amongst the citizens on the grounds of caste, creed, religion, race, place of nationality, place of domicile or birth, we see that this fundamental right of equality and non-discrimination is flouted in the constitution itself by making special provisions under articles 15.4 and 16.4. Unfortunately, the governments successively have gone on to confer more and more benefits on the reserved class under the guise of helping them. The governments have been pandering to their voter base by playing appeasement tactics so that their vote banks are secured. Be that as it may, the current structure of reservation is that there is a class called the scheduled castes, then there are the scheduled tribes, and the what is in the constitution known as the social and educationally backward classes, which are variously termed in different states as backward classes or most backward classes. In Maharashtra, we know them as other backward classes. Two new reservations came into being in Maharashtra in 2018. The Maratha were extended reservation, and they were provided reservation under a category called social and educationally backward classes. Marathas being the sole caste to be included in that particular category. Scheduled castes is obviously a collection of castes. Scheduled tribes is also a collection of castes. The difference between scheduled castes and scheduled tribes is that scheduled classes are scheduled castes are people who profess the Hindu, Jain, Sikh, and the scheduled tribes do not adhere to a particular religion, or there is no differentiation between religions as regards scheduled tribes. Scheduled castes were at the time of making of the constitution thought to have suffered from untouchability, and the scheduled tribes used to stay out of bounds of the society. They were not uh, part of the society as a whole. Scheduled tribes is a collection of castes which made their living from forest produce. They are variously termed as Adivasis or Mool Nivasis in local parlance. And the current situation is that reservation is provided to various classes. The newly inserted reservation regarding economically weaker section is also a class, but it is good to see that it is extended only to people whose annual income is less than 8 lakh rupees per family, and that income is counted from all sources, not like in the creamy layer or non-creamy layer propounded by the Supreme Court. And in practice, that non-creamy layer does not count the income from agriculture and salary. Economically weaker section EWS reservation is a lot more stringent than the reservations awarded to OBCs, that is the non-creamy layer of the OBCs. SCs and STs do not have any creamy layer currently being applied to them. What is proposed by this talk is that the reservation should be awarded only for the economically weaker section and not based on caste or not extended to any particular class or caste. It should be based on individuals, or at ideally family should be the unit for awarding, for extending benefits of reservation. We have become so used to the idea of reservation that we can't conceive of a society free of reservation. Nobody can think of a society which does not provide reservation, and in a utilitarian state, in a welfare state, it becomes the duty of the state to provide for the backwards. Uh, Whatever the definition of backwards might have been during the time of making of the constitution, now the only backwardness is poverty. As leaders have variously said and have been quoted, there are only two classes in India currently, that is the poor and the not so poor. So the poor deserve to be benefited by grant of reservation regardless of caste or creed. And towards that goal of providing reservation and allied benefits to the economically deprived, EWS is a welcome step. Currently, it is being extended to people who do not benefit from any social reservation. So, the idea becomes that if the caste-based reservation is done away with, that will lead to a better society with a better integrated nation, because we see that various wars, social wars, are fought on the basis of caste, which is at all not necessary in the current scenario. Situation might be different in different parts of the country, in different states, but 7 decades after independence, we can proudly say that caste has become totally irrelevant except for the purposes of politics and for extension of reservation. When it is said that caste has become irrelevant, that is meant to imply that we have moved on a lot since the days of making of the constitution, when the constitution makers thought of giving some external aid to the then considered as backward classes. There was great debate in the Constituent Assembly regarding the benefits of reservation, to whom they should be extended. And at the time, because of scarcity of resources and unavailability of proper data, it was ultimately decided that reservation should be extended to certain castes. And despite the fundamental right of equality and non-discrimination, scheduled class was carved out of the Indian population, separated. Scheduled castes and scheduled tribes were separated, segregated, so that benefits could be given to them, but that was the basis for the current situation, where reservation, which was extended by way of benefit, by way of some provision for upliftment of the backward, now it has come to mean a right for certain individuals, certain classes, certain societies, and most troublesomely to certain intellectuals, so-called liberals, pseudo-secularists, and the like. They have invested the policy with the perceived need of the reserve to stay perpetually so. The only step away would be to do away with caste-based reservation and to extend reservation only on economic criterion, and the unit of that reservation should be a family or an individual. Currently, India have the capacity, the government have the capacity to minutely record the income of each and every individual. All of us who possess Aadhaar cards have had those cards linked with our PAN number. Data in detail is with the government. There are various agencies carrying out survey, and so it is very easy for the government to collate that data to understand and gauge the economic status of every individual in the country. When we see that a new mobile connection is not given except when you provide them with the Aadhaar card, you will understand that the government have amassed huge data for each citizen. Our Aadhaar card contains great details about our income and assets. Aadhaar cards are linked to bank accounts. They are linked to our income tax returns. And the sole, as I have said, the sole criterion for award of reservation should be economic backwardness. And that can very well be gathered by the government only by collating data which is present on the Aadhaar card. Direct beneficiary transfer, this DBTL scheme of the government, is a welcome step taken in the right direction, where the amount to be disbursed to the beneficiary is directly deposited in the bank account. And this has led to tremendous transparency. And that transparency, that thing which the government can now very easily arrange data of citizens to be collated for considering their economic worth, which will then provide the government sufficient data to confer reservations on the only the deserving people. The point again is not to extend reservation to classes, to castes, or any other group, but to individuals who deserve it. And then might be we will be led to a better society which does not, where it does not matter to what caste you belong. Even otherwise, during the decades of independence, India has progressed a lot. Boundaries of states have been blurred because of the social mobility, because of the globalization, so to speak, of the world, because of opportunities arising here and there, because of the desire of the public at large to get a better lifestyle. There is mass migration away from their ancestral homes to places where there are abundant opportunities for employment. And this mass movement of huge populations from one state to another, employment opportunities knock at the doors of people who agree to move out of their homes. That is a thought which should provide any thinker. The idea of caste is so integrated with your place of residence, and once you move away from your original place of residence to another locality, another community, another state, then caste becomes irrelevant, as it has become irrelevant for most of us. For most of us, now it does not matter to which caste you or the other person belongs. There is great interaction, social barriers have gone. Untouchability, I doubt untouchability is being practiced anywhere. Of course, there might be exceptions. I am talking from a very advanced state of Maharashtra, where there are does not seem to be that much of a problem regarding castes, because of greats like Ambedkar and Annabhau Sathe and so many other social reformers, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. some kings in Maharashtra like Shivaji, Shahu Chhatrapati. This is not a tribute to them, but the point is that these social reformers were present in Maharashtra, and Maharashtra is a more homogenized society than might be some other states, or as is portrayed. Maharashtra is a liberal state, and we have been living amicably over the past decades. That may not be so in other states, but the point is that the ideal of a homogenized country, of a better integrated country, can best be served if the caste based reservations go. Caste based reservation have caused great prejudices, have created a chasm between the haves and the have nots. The reserved and the unreserved fight from two different angles, and the government awarding so many benefits to the reserved class when merit should be rewarded. Where the problem with reservation is that merit goes out of the window. Excellence matters in education and in policy making and in administration. However, we see that the cutoff of reserved classes is much lower than that of the either the OBCs or the unreserved class, open class. And this bridge, though ideally it should be bridged, the problem is that even after 7 decades of reservation being extended, the divide remains. And it is an indicator that the policy of reservation, caste based reservation, has become or has been rather a failure. Caste based reservation has not addressed the problem of a particular class having to live within its own means, and reservation was never meant to be extended for the upliftment of the backwards from poverty into prosperity. The idea of the reservation was to give them adequate representation in policy matters. Remember, the original idea of reservation as implemented in India was creation of separate constituencies for the backward classes in assemblies as well as in the central legislature. So now that was at the time of making of the constitution. In the original constitution, reservation was extended in employment, and reservation in education was a latter invention by the first amendment to the constitution. This provision for reservation for educational purposes was made, and we see that 7 decades of continuous grant of reservation have not made the condition of the backward classes better, if at all the cutoffs and scores of those classes are to be seen. The desired benefit of reservation not being present, it is time to rethink of the reservation policy. And one way of this rethinking of the reservation policy is to move away from caste based reservation to reservation based on economic criteria, and from moving away from class based reservation to reservation being given to individuals or families. And this will be a new dawn for India, when the really deserving poor and the only class of backwards, that is the poor, get benefits of reservation, if at all those reservation benefits are to be extended. And everybody is on the same page regarding the poor getting benefits of reservation. Nobody disputes that the poor should get a hand from the government, a hand of aid from the government. And that being said, new thought needs to be put into this particular aspect. Social reformers, policy makers, thought leaders, so to speak, should now come out and speak, think, and act to make this an ideal that reservation should not be class based or caste based. Reservation should be awarded solely on economic criterion and to individuals or to families. This was thought of at the time of the making of the constitution. Constituent Assembly debates contain references to the unviability of individual consideration for reservation. Now, after 7 decades of progress and modern technology and artificial intelligence and huge collection of data for various purposes by the government, we are in a position where it can be extended. It may not take more than 6 months, if at all the government thinks of collating data of each and every individual in India, whosoever is documented. Huge exercises are currently being undertaken by the government in the form of census. Every 10 years, data is gathered and processed. National Sample Survey Organization and similar organizations collect data, wholesale price index, and so many other indices are there to aid the government into making the most appropriate provisions for reservation on the basis of economic criterion. Let us all think of a better dawn. Let us all think of a better India which is casteless and creedless, and where the benefits of reservation are awarded solely on the basis of merit coupled with the consideration of economic backwardness. I thank you very much for having watched this video. This is Advocate Srirang Chaudhary again. I am a practicing advocate in the High Court of Bombay. Thank you very much.